What's the best way to tell someone that their baby is ugly? When my little sister was a baby, she had quite an ugly face. My grandparents thought as much, so instead of calling her a pretty baby or a cute baby, they called her a nice baby because apparently she smiled a lot. Moral of the story: whenever you see an ugly baby, but you don't want to make the parents feel too bad about it, call it a nice baby. I like to use precious. It's the perfect descriptor. Makes mom and dad feel good without any awkwardness. We'll look out for this. Our baby is 2 days old and looks like a 40-year-old accountant. He literally looks like he was born with a receding hairline and a sour demeanor. I got in before the Winston Churchill comments. Edit. Pic of our little accountant, https://postimc.cc/n9wcftbn. He's been in ICU due to rapid breathing and a little jaundice. He's doing well and looked like this before he was out in an incubator. Pics taken with permission of midwife, we have lots of them. Edit 2, baby is in ICU where you need to scrub before entry, remove jewelry and roll up sleeves. Phones get pretty grubby and they don't like you making calls in the unit anyway. The nurses were good enough to say we could use the phone for pics, and I thought people might be concerned about me taking photos in a clean unit. A woman got on a bus holding a baby. The bus driver said, "That's the ugliest baby I've ever seen." In a huff, the woman slammed her fare into the fare box and took an aisle seat near the rear of the bus. The man seated next to her sensed that she was agitated and asked her what was wrong. "The bus driver insulted me," she fumed. The man sympathized and said why, he's a public servant and shouldn't say things to insult passengers. "You're right," she said. "I think I'll go back up there and give him a piece of my mind." "That's a good idea," the man said. "Here, let me hold your monkey." I'm pretty sure you just don't. I've told this story on Reddit before, but long ago, before I was even born, my parents went to my dad's company Christmas party together. He had a relatively new co-worker who was also a new father. Guy comes up to my dad with his baby, and my dad lovingly admires the baby and says what a fine, healthy child it is. Congratulations. New dad walks off to show his baby to someone else, and my dad promptly turns to the woman standing next to him and says, "Well, if that wasn't the ugliest baby I've ever seen." And it was the co-worker's wife/baby's mama. She started crying and everyone in the office heard about my dad insulting her child. Co-worker wasn't even mad, he said knew his kid was ugly but his wife didn't think so. Lol. My mom told that story every year with the lesson of know who you're talking to and don't insult babies. Just don't compliment their baby when you meet them. I feel like the natural reaction when you see a baby is telling their parents how cute or adorable they look. Just look at that fucker with a straight face and then talk to the parents like it doesn't exist. I did this recently to the parents of a, not cute, newborn, kinda without meaning to. I was like, "Oh, it's baby's name." Usually I say something to parents about their kid being cute/adorable, but this one was not, and I think I couldn't bring myself to act like she was. That said, it's not the baby's fault, and likely she'll be cuter later. I felt a little bit bad about it. You don't. Most babies/toddlers go through a phase of being hideous, and the time they spend in this phase varies wildly. Sometimes they're really unfortunate and stay ugly. I think once they hit 4 or 5 and they're still ugly, then it's game over for them. Had a co-worker with a baby that looked like a squashed banana crossed with a melted doll. She's 6 and now has Steve Buscemi eyes and angry eyebrows. Super unfortunate as mum has soft features, smile lines, kind eyes and soft floating curly hair. She has this angry Shrek looking thing. When I first saw my daughter my heart sank because I thought she wasn't cute, lol. She took a few days to really settle into existence, but those first few days she looked really bloated and gross to me. Now she's gorgeous, in my opinion of course, and a really cool 1-year-old that I love hanging out with all day. But the nurses were all, "Oh, she's so cute," and I was like, "Y'all don't have to lie, you know, haha." Love hormones aka oxytocin, they make you blind. I thought one of my babies was the most beautiful baby in the whole world, that ever was or ever would be, and I asked my friends, isn't baby so beautiful? They politely nodded. Looking back at pictures now, love is blind. That baby was not, in fact, the most beautiful baby. It's okay, though, they turned out nicely. Phew. Feel free to call me a bad person, but I think all babies are ugly. That's my personal opinion, but I know that I'd get a lot of backlash for saying so to a parent or guardian's face. Because of this, instead of confessing my true feelings or lying to fit in, I usually say things that are objectively true but are seen as positive. Look at their tiny feet, I hope they grow to be a successful adult. Wow, taking care of a baby must be a lot of hard work, etc. That way, no one is offended, but I'm not saying anything I don't believe. Hope that helped. I was in 10th grade, 2005, and my drunk buddies called my parents' house to tell me to come to the movie theater parking lot and get pissed. My friend is being loud and drunk as fuck, when all of a sudden he pauses mid-sentence and goes, "Damn, that's a ugly baby." He breaks out into a fully belly laugh, and I could hear everyone in the background in stitches at this lady who was probably just pushing her kid in a stroller through the parking lot. That baby is ugly as fuck. Boo. This gang of drunk kids is just shitting on this lady's baby in broad daylight. I'm in tears in my parents' kitchen, until I hear my buddy on the other line go, "I'm sorry miss. Your baby is actually pretty." He's going to say pretty ugly. Pretty ugly. Coming out of the hospital with our first kid, the nurses kept saying how cute our kid is. I called the nurses out and said, "You must tell all the new families that their kids are cute." I was immediately corrected and told if a baby is ugly the nurses agree on a body part to compliment. Yay, or, he's got a cute nose, or, she's got the most precious ears. I would suggest taking their advice, find something cute and go for it. I love my kid. She's adorable. Turning 4 soon and she is complimented all the time about how cute she is. I gave birth naturally, so I don't know if this has anything to do with it. I was not all drugged up, but when my kid came out, my mom sighed and said she's perfect, and I was aghast at how ugly she was. I even said it out loud, literally after pushing her out, "Well, I hope that's not how she is always gonna look, that pig nose is awful." My mother glared at me and said, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And then my baby shat on my belly. Our motherhood. I don't really know why you would. Something like having a baby is usually a major lifetime achievement. I don't have an irrational hatred of babies, unless I see one on an airplane, and I'm not out here to hurt people's feelings if I care enough about them to know they had a baby in the first place. It's like asking what's the best way to tell someone their kid is stupid. Or what's the best way to mock someone's favorite hobby, just seems kind of pointlessly rude. Unless it's your dumb fuck of a best mate and you're trying to roast him and his shit newborn for the giggles of it. That being said, boy howdy, there are a lot of butthurt parents projecting their insecurities here. Probs with words. My mum used to work as a midwife and one day walked into ward to check up on a new mother. Upon seeing the baby she could help but exclaim what an ugly baby it was before catching herself and being appropriately mortified. The kicker is that the new mother actually agreed with her and was feeling worse before this moment because everyone else was lying and calling her baby cute, so she was feeling like a bad mum thinking that it was ugly. So, sometimes it is actually helpful to be blunt about these things. Apparently the dad walked in shortly after and the resemblance was uncanny. My wife is 6 months pregnant with our first, a girl. We've both discussed repeatedly that we will have no shame in admitting if our newborn daughter is ugly. If it happens, we intend to make it easy on people by judging their faces and going, "Oh, don't worry, we're aware." Although we have the added twist of having a mixed race baby, since my wife is Black/Dominican and I'm white. Dunno if that'll make any difference, but fingers crossed that she doesn't look anything like the fat, bald alien I was when I was born. Don't tell the parent the baby is ugly. Tell the baby that they are ugly. If it gets mad at you, tell it to fight you. Let it win, so it can feel what it's like to have a victory, and then as a reward for beating you, buy it a bunch of mirrors. Then tell the baby to remember to look into them every day. If all works out as planned, the next time you see that baby, it will have been turned to stone by its own ugly gaze from its ugly face, and its only way of transportation will be its mom carrying it around with a grocery bag. My mom has a story from my grandma that she likes to tell. For background, grandma and extended family are super Catholic on mom's side. We were never raised that way, more encouraged to explore religions and choose if we wanted. But that's beside the point. One time my grandma was at a baptism. Wasn't her kid. I have no idea why she was there other than church, you know. The father had baptized one baby already, so turned around to get ready for the next one. Poor little guy was as ugly as they came, apparently. The father turns around, sees the child and exclaims, "Now that's a baby." Just talk about how ugly the baby is with your other friends or family behind the parents' backs. This couple I know had the ugliest baby, and the woman was constantly posting all of these "Isn't he the cutest handsomest little man?" And it was like, little man is exactly what that baby is. I think I muted her to stop having to see that poor baby every day, but it was more because she was so annoying. But seriously, the baby looked like an extra from Island of Dr. Moreau. Parents already have an idea. I literally decorated my oldest child's room in Curious George, because he reminded me a lot of that character. Basically, my newborn reminded me of a baby monkey, but I still thought he was super cute. He looks almost exactly like his dad now, so I guess he turned out pretty well.